great. Top rollers, I don't feel that what you have limits the style that you can do. I think that it's a bad way to think about it.
Just practice whatever.
Yeah, practice them all. Practice them all.
Is that where I am?
Yeah.
Where am I? You're on my side.
Your side.
Where you Center.
I think it has, like, I think that there's different genetic factors that play in. I think that some people,
Not center.
just
No.
regardless of like
Because I can
their
say the center
size or
Yeah, I can
whatever,
say the center thing
are
too, but you're
more
never gonna see it from
prone
there,
to
right?
do different things. You know, like some people just genetically have it. Like, for me, what I've seen all the time is so many people. The ability to press or the ability to flop wrist press, I think, is very much a genetic thing. Like, there's so many people that I feel arm wrestle, and I'm like, your press doesn't feel healthy. Don't press. Just forget all about it. Do not do it for a while. And flop wrist pressing, some people it's like, no, you're absolutely going to break your arm. You can feel it. And then some people it's like, you should only press. You should only press and you should only flop. You know. But I think it's almost a genetic thing where your connective tissues fit together, and there is variation. You know, there's going to be slight variation in people.
With that flop wrist press,
Yeah.
we haven't got anyone in Australia that does it.
Yeah.
Can you just demonstrate it? Just
Sure.
yeah.
There's a bunch of guys who do it. It's rare. Okay.
Yeah.
Floppers, you know.
does that.
What's that?
Jerry Cadollet is
Yeah,
the main
Jerry-
guy who does
Jerry
it
Cadollet,
at the international level.
Yeah, he's the main. I would say Jerry is the best flop wrist presser that there is. So okay, so
Lars did it last year, and he's got some power behind him. He just let it all go. I
yeah.
think it was so close, wasn't he? I sit next to you, and it was just
Oh, it's a
about
great
all
move.
the way.
And flop wrist press is a great move, especially if you build up, you know, your techniques around it. You know, great move, fabulous move. Jerry Cadollet is one of my favorite arm wrestlers. He's a great arm wrestler. So one of the things with the flop, when you set it up, is for most moves you want to be over top. Okay. With the flop, there's not a lot of advantages to be high. It's like you almost want to be underneath the person, right? So if I'm all up here, you know, it's not as good. Like I almost want to be under. Okay. With the flop, it's best if the guy is top rolling. Again, you want to crowd that table, right? You want to crowd the table. One of the things about all these soft counter styles, right? Whether it's defensive hooking, whether it's flop wrist pressing, there's a process that you kind of have to go through. I pulled Taras Ivankin in 2005, I think, and I ended up losing, but I ended up flopping him twice for a victory. And I learned something really important in that match. I ended up winning the first two, and then I lost the last four. And I think that I know why. Who knows? Maybe I'm just in my head, but I think I know why I lost. And that's because I felt like I figured him out, and I felt like I was going there too quickly. Like I felt like his hand was so dominant over mine at the time. Like the total sum of his hand versus mine, he was so strong. Like I had everything in the setup. Like he was like here, and I was like, oh, this is great. I had like height, I had everything perfect, and it just didn't matter. It did not matter. It was just, he was going. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And the reason why I kind of won the first match was because I went through a process of retreat. Okay, so I initially hit with my post, switched to my top roll, you know, and it's not going, and then I fell behind with my flop, okay, for my soft counter. And I managed to get my stop, and then, you know, adjust and get the win. And then the second time, I still didn't really believe that it happened like that, you know, so I kind of went through that same process again, you know, try the top, you know. And then by the third time, I was like, oh my God, there's no way that I'm going to beat this guy, you know. So I was just like, okay, well, I'm setting up with a flop wrist press, you know, I'm setting up to enter it right away. But the problem is, as soon as you do that, then he can much more easily nail down his counter for specifically that move, and doesn't have to go through the, okay, I stopped his post, now his top, now. And then by the time the press comes in, then it's like you've expended a lot of his technique already. So what I learned is even when you know that you're overwhelmed in an area, it's important to even just have a small deposit there, you know, just so it forces your opponent to go through the process of defeating me. You know, you know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So when you're setting up for your flop wrist press or any other move, it's still not unlike the full process, because it's a way of entry into that pressure, right? And if you show that you're going there too much, like even Jerry, like you watch him, like he's setting up like he's posting, you know, and it's a process of him going in. And even once he's in, you know, he's trying to post out of it to return to center so he has more retreat room, right? Because it's a retreat. You're giving things up to enter it, right? And if you've already given them up, if there's nothing there, then he's able to right away just do the counter. So when I'm thinking about flopping, yes, I'm heavily in there, but there's still something here, you know what I mean? Like, so I can enter it like that, as opposed to just, you know, this is eventually where the pressure will be, but if I show you this, it's much easier for you to counter, right?
Yep.
But if I give you at least something there, don't move, ready, go, you know? And really I'm pushing.
And your elbow just creeps forward.
I'm coming
with
the best guys, okay, the best pressers are coming right at you. Like they're coming right at you. I'm not a great flopper, okay? I train with a really good one. And I can kind of do it a bit, but they're coming right at you. Like they're coming right, like it's not to the side. Like, go ahead. Like I'm coming right at you. Yeah, go ahead. Like I'm pushing forward, you know? A lot of times you end up being too defensive with it, and there's a difference between being defensive with the flop and offensive. Normally you see a lot of guys go ahead and top roll me, okay, and they fall behind it, you know, something like this, okay, and this is real ugly. Okay?
Yeah, it looks ugly.
Yeah, it's real ugly, but it does work. Okay, you can get stops there, but I would never tell guys to practice it. I think it can be real damaging and lead to all sorts of unhappiness.
When I press,
Yeah.
off the rest of that, I'm looking to cut in there.
Yeah.
And just like that.
Yeah. Now that's a real press,
Yeah.
right? That's not a
So
flop.
that's a straight up press, but I can't flop the wrist.
Yeah.
It just feels like you get in that position and it just feels ugly.
It's better in the strap. It's a lot better in the strap. You can not really do a lot of these extreme moves without a strap.
Some guys even, this is there is a push point here. Just even cross the
No,
line. This is it. And then you go down. You know, like there is a pressure point, right? Yeah, that one. Just so here, see guys do that, like you.
So the first part of it in the strap is that connection, right? Remember how we talked about you don't need, right? Yeah. So I'm always kind of connecting, right? Okay. There's not a lot. There's not a lot of cut with it, right? But I'm still connecting. Right? I'm still push. Straight away.
That's what last was doing.
And it's much better if I can always try and bring it back. So it works better in, you know, conjunction with other pieces, right? Yeah.
Oh, that's going to help me.
Yeah. You go.
Oh, geez, where's still yours, Andrew?
Yours to get
Wait,
There's a gap! So what you want to think about doing now, what you want to think about doing is you want to think about connecting, right? Like, so,
Connecting through.
no, you want to, like, okay, so you're here and you're pushing, but what you want to do is you want to start working just a bit back so you can go back in, right? Because it's that process of returning to center so that you can retreat again, right? So the press is your retreat. Yeah, so give up your wrist if it's getting taken. Yeah, there you go. Right, now you're strong. Right. And now, the return to center is you coming back up and trying to top roll. Good, and now come right, but don't make it quite so big. So now you can drop on it again. Return your elbow back to your body. Because remember, in the flop, you don't need your wrist. You don't need your wrist, right? You can just connect.
I have seen some guys pushing your the hand like this, and then applying pressure here, like
Yeah.